well. Culture! Ah, culture rocks. So culture is my favourite chapter, obviously, because I review plays and books and films and comedy and stuff all year round. So this was always going to be my favourite. Imagine my delight, therefore, to get physically paid for writing about how ancient and modern culture just smack into each other perfectly. There are three categories I'll talk to you about. The first, of course, is epic. The first great literary form, obviously Homer, obviously Virgil. And it doesn't look like we create as much epic today. People don't write those big epic books anymore, but we do. It's just that we create it on American television. Those big, every time you buy a 7-series box set, what you're buying is an epic, every single time. And especially you're buying it when you buy something like The Sopranos, cast of zillions, loads of death. Who does that remind you of? A little bit the Iliad? Yeah, me too. If you want monsters and gods, which is what you're going to get in all epic, hello, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 144 episodes of Buffy. A kick-ass, proper, old-fashioned hero. Somebody who's prepared to kill the man she loves to do her duty, just like Aeneas when he leaves his dead wife Creusa in Troy saying, I don't want to go. And Virgil says, no, Pius Aeneas, dutiful Aeneas, this is what he has to go and do. He has to do his duty and screw what he wants. Then he meets Dido in Book 4 of the Aeneid. NB, best book of poetry ever written, fact. He meets her, they fall in love, it's all going to be beautiful. No, he has to go off and found New Rome, he has to get going, get moving. Pius Aeneas, dutiful Aeneas, this is what he has to do. At the end of season 2 of Buffy, Buffy has to kill the man she loves, the only man she loves and will ever love. And she has to do it because otherwise, literally hell will break out on Earth. She has to be dutiful Buffy. She can't go for what she wants. She can't go for her true love. She has to protect the world first. She has to be a leader of people, like Agamemnon. She has to be smarter than her enemies, like Odysseus. She has to protect her family, like Hector. Buffy is pure epic. 7 seasons of it. I'm not kidding, you should really get it. Tragedy is my own personal favourite. I love it so. And lucky for me, tragedy never goes out of fashion. If you look at the films which are nominated for Best Oscar Actor and Actress every single year, probably somewhere between 80 and 90% of them are tragedies. Now there's a good question here of cause and effect, and I don't know what the answer is. Is it because tragedy is a purer art form and therefore it's a better film, a better performance every time you make a tragedy? Or is it because we simply realise that tragedy is, I don't know, I would say this as a former comedian, is it highbrow? Tragedy is the highbrow art, comedy is no art, and comedians should never be trusted. And so we reward the tragic, we reward the crying and the broken hearts and the death and the missing child and the dead husband. That's what we like. We like to see someone cry, that's what we give them an Oscar for. Emma Thompson, Kate Winslet, just get in line. But the tragic notion has moved into more culture than people realise, I think. I made a radio programme earlier this year saying that it was echoed constantly in soap opera because people come out, there's unity of time, there's unity of place. People come out and they say, this is what I'm feeling, I have no subtext that I'm not expressing right now. And then somebody replies going, yes, I'm very angry with you because of this. It's exactly like the agone in a tragedy where they lay into each other. They even go with stichomythia, bang, 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 quick line, quick line, quick line, quick line. It's exactly, structurally, the way that tragedy works. But even more so than soap, because soap has to be ongoing. So it has to work like the Oresteia, where each play entails the next play, the next episode. Is detective fiction, both on TV and in literary form. Detective shows, detective books always follow a tragic arc. You find me, the rules of tragedy as a tragic hero are an extremist, right? Somebody who behaves in a way that normal people don't under the same provocation. Oedipus is like you and me, but he's smarter, he's more impatient, he's meaner a little, bad-tempered. Medea is a wronged woman. She's just a bit more wronged than the rest of us. She really cares, so damn it, she's going to kill her kids over it. And so on and so on. Tragic heroes are normal people just stretched slightly to make them stronger and bigger. You find me a TV detective who doesn't have a tragic backstory. He's not a loner. All tragic heroes are always loners. They've always got a broken relationship behind them, usually a drink problem, because they're extremist personalities. They can't give up their crime solving. There's always a crime, one crime, that they just can't let go. They just can't let, just like Oedipus, can't let go. The mystery of who this child was, how it was found on a mountainside, what happened to it next, it can't be let go. It's sort of doggedness. And even quite positive characteristics. Antigone is a case in point. She's fiercely loyal. She'll bury her brother rather than obey the law, even if it means she dies for it. It's exactly Exactly, like the kind of rogue rookie cop who just won't do what he's told. Oh, you never obey the rules. Duh, it's only one day before my retirement, etc. That's what we're looking at when we watch the tragic arc in detective fiction. That's exactly how it goes. The most perfect, and I'm loath to go into detail in case I spoil this for you, but who has watched The Wire? Good, well done. My favourite audience. Congratulations.
I can't believe this. I'm the only person in the room.
No, I've watched it.
Yeah.
But Dan's watched it. Right, 3. No one else has watched The Wire. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Have you been reading books instead? I am disappointed in you. Right, does anyone who hasn't seen The Wire plan on watching The Wire? Because if you do, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Then, we'll go back to the story arc of somebody else to get me a good tragedy. We'll go with the story arc, but we'll be vague and it will work for you, so I didn't spoil it. So, there's a story arc. I'm going to require you to look at the ground in a second so you miss something, okay? Because I genuinely don't want to ruin it for you. Awesome. Awesome. The story arc of ground. Come back to me. Back. Yeah, no, I know. Pure Sophocles. This character is the perfect Oedipal arc. There is not, I'll be honest with you, sex with mothers. But in every other regard, he is Oedipus. He has a destiny. Agreed?
Yes. Okay,
and his destiny is to die young, like children born in the projects in Baltimore do. That's his destiny. That's what he's going to do. He's going to be a drug dealer and he's going to be dead by 20. That's what happens. Only he's too smart for that and he doesn't want that. And so he moves away from it, gradually moves away from it, becomes more respectable because he doesn't want to die at 20. He's too smart for this. He goes to college, goddammit. He goes to college to learn to be a better person. Just as Oedipus runs away from Corinth when he hears the prophecy and hears that he's going to kill his parents as he believes them to be, adoptive parents as we know them to be. Just as that point where he goes, oh, I don't want to kill my father and marry my mother, I'd better run away to Thebes, nothing bad will happen there. That is what happens when our character goes, I don't want to be a drug dealer, I want to have a respectable empire, I want to have a respectable business empire, I want to improve myself, I don't want to be caught in that world. It's exactly at the point where he runs away from his destiny that he incurs it and ends up tragically varied. And the only point actually where it diverges really and truly from Greek tragedy is that he doesn't die off screen. He dies right there for us to see. So we don't get a messenger coming on and saying, oh, it was awful when that happened. Oh dear. Ooh. And everything. No, definitely not. Right there for us to see. And your heart breaks into 1,000 shards. It's a pure cathartic experience. Exactly what Sophocles was writing. So don't let anyone tell you that telly is not as good as books. Telly is sometimes as good as books. Fact. It's not all as good. And some books are really good. But nonetheless, The Wire, honestly, I wouldn't lie to you, rules. Comedy. I made my living telling it for such a long time. I've made radio programmes about how modern comedians stole their jokes from comedians in the past. I talked about how The Simpsons was the modern incarnation of Aristophanes because who else would have a budget for all those ridiculous choruses apart from something that's animated. That surreal humour begins with Aristophanes, a man whose birds get angry with politics and so set up a new land in the sky. Political humour, Aristophanes, obviously, how can you resist? Stand-up, Juvenal, the first great stand-up comedian, a man who could stand in front of a room full of people and go, I'll tell you what's wrong with women, this, and can criticise them for being over-informed and stupid at the same time. If they know too much, they're boring in blue stockings and they're bossy and awful. If they don't know enough, then they're frivolous, celebrity, obsessed, blah, blah, blah. It is exactly like somebody doing really misogynistic stand-up now. It's extraordinary how little comedy has changed. And quite aside from that, comedians use techniques that orators used in the ancient world in law courts. When a comedian gives you what we would call a rule of 3, you go bang, bang, bang. The good, the bad and the ugly is a really good case in point. So get 1, get 2, emphasis is on the 3rd, the good, the bad and the ugly. Bang! That's got your attention. Comedians do it all the time. They do it all the time to get your laugh on the 3rd one. So you'll have something you're expecting, something you're expecting, something you're not expecting at all. And they do it over and over again. It's called tricolon. You get it in Demosthenes and Cicero over and over again. If you want to go through something to get people to laugh at the end of it, comedians do this all the time. You make a list and you go through it faster and faster. You stop using conjunctions. So it's a syndeton, exactly, again, what they used to do in the law courts. Over and over again you get people using alliteration, a syndeton, occasionally puns, God help us. But stand-up comics have been stealing from ancient orators for the entire time stand-up comedy has existed, which I find immensely gratifying, if unlikely.